Hello everyone, this is Chase from the Chronicles of Chase. It's my first vlog attempt on my own, so hang with me on the rustiness. I've done vlogs as a sidekick, the Robin to a Batman with my partner, love of my life, #1 subscriber, recording wrestling. But I've never done it alone. So, hang with me. The title of this video is why I stopped posting writing to this channel. So that's the first of a couple of different things we're going to get into. But we'll definitely address that first since it's the title. Why did I stop posting writing on this channel? There are a couple of reasons. And to get into those reasons, I feel like I have to go through a little bit of how my journey as a writer has been and what my self-image is as a writer. I've been writing for, a long time, really sporadically. Like from the 2nd or 3rd grade on, but to pick out a stretch of 3 to 5 years of consistent practice and focus is impossible. And so that's like what, 7 or 8 years old, I guess. I was old for my grade, so probably about 9 to 28. It's 19 years of just really off and on practice with writing poetry, with writing prose, with writing nonfiction and research pieces. And a piece of my journey as a writer and my self-image as a writer has hinged so much on coming into contact with more serious writers and what their practice looks like and just how they carry themselves. And that's happened at Howard University with peers and classmates. It's happened with my little brother, who was, unbeknownst to me for a minute, just turned into all-star caliber contributor to national and international news networks, written 10, 15 pieces, really well researched, which is not surprising at all if you know my little brother. He's oral interp champion in the state, went to the nationals a couple of times, and it's just like when I want to know about something niche and particular in international politics, he's the first person I go to. So absolutely not surprising in the least, but just from a standpoint of like, there's so many other different things that he will talk about that he's doing and that he has done, and writer isn't even at the forefront of anywhere in how he defines himself to the world and to other people. And so somebody who's been more vocal about like, oh, I want to be a writer, and but hasn't done the work. And similar to the experience I've had with my classmates, where like, shoot, man, you see people doing the work, and what it takes, period, because another piece of it is like the most readily accessible. Serious writers to anybody is professional writers who are giving interviews and talking about their process. And so like from all of those different experiences, I've become read up on the fact that I'm maybe not a writer, not in practice. I'm a teacher. stories and was substituting before that. But in terms of what I am doing on a regular basis, I don't think I can call myself a writer, and especially with the publishing aspect, which kind of helps bring us around and back to the original part of why I started this video, which is why I stopped posting writing on this channel. I think it's two-pronged. One is the shame, to a degree, of just feeling like what I was putting out was not up to snuff. Like, there's a reason that the stories that got published on this channel were self-published, if that makes sense, and maybe with work and editing and like a serious and critical eye put towards them for a concerted effort, they could turn into something that was worthy of other people seeing. But I don't necessarily regard anything that I posted on this channel as worthy of anybody seeing, really. So there's the shame aspect of like, this is just too close to the first draft and like pushed out too quick. And it would not get published by anybody but myself. And then also the aspect of like, I don't want to put out all of my writing from any period going back to like the kernel of hope that I was putting into what I was saying about these stories that have been posted. Or like, if there is a possibility of them improving or getting better or getting to a point of somebody wanting to publish them, that would be something that would be undermined by a shittier version, excuse my French, being out there and available to people through other means. And so like a preservation of the desire to eventually publish work one day somewhere, fiction in some kind of journal or magazine or shoot, that's definitely still a goal. I do still want to be a writer one day, though I don't regard myself as much of one right now. But in that endeavor, I do feel like most people who get to that place, like it's rarer to go the path of self-publishing an enormous amount of your work, and then folks like backwards working to you and saying, no, we do actually want to like publish this through a publishing house. And there are examples, but many of the novels and short story collections that I have enjoyed most have gone through the rigorous process of publishing. And I do think being self-critical and like analyzing where I've gone wrong in my practice, it's the editing process, for sure. Just from the standpoint of like, I've done so much research on like authors and their writing styles, and so like Zadie Smith and George R.R. Martin are two people who come to mind in terms of like writing first the perfect sentence and then the perfect paragraph and then the perfect page. And once you've done that, you can move on to the next page. And like George R.R. Martin was talking with Stephen King in a like panel discussion interview, and he was like, I don't know how the hell you write 3 books a year. I'm so giddy when I get to the end of a year and I've written, 5 chapters. Right? And the R.R. Martin, Zadie Smith approach leads to scenarios like Song of Ice and Fire fans are currently in, waiting for 6 of 7 books, I believe, and hoping that their author of the series that they love so much will be able to put a perfect page after a perfect page into 2 novels before he passes. But it's just such a protective factor and pro once you get to the end of the book. Because you're done. Basically, I feel like I heard Zadie Smith say that in so many words in an interview. She said, it's nerve-wracking as hell for me to write a novel because I can't move on until each sentence is right. But then I get to the end of the novel and it's like, I don't have to do shit. And I know other writers who get to the end of a novel and that's when the damn work begins because they have this mess. It hasn't been perfect from page to page. It's, very irregular and you have to go through it and smooth out the irregularities. And I think it was Gillian Flynn said it took 50 edits of maybe Gone Girl, maybe Sharp Objects. I'm not sure. Could have been her first novel. It could have been Gone Girl. But Gillian Flynn, Gillian, whichever it is, I think Gillian, that route feels like the only route that I'm going to be able to reach publishable material with my work. I don't know. It just the biggest hurdle that I'm facing right now is just getting over my squeamishness with editing and cutting and refining work over and over and over again until it is to a place where I can say it's good enough if it's not perfect. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a lack of confidence. It's the reason that I'm not posting stories anymore. But I really do feel like it's just a self-awareness of the quality of those stories at the time of publication on this channel. And then also a desire to eventually get published somewhere. And a hope that if I hold back the work I am able to put out, I can sit with it long enough and refine it and get it to a place where it might be publishable. And really too, kind of out of like I said with the Shame Spoke, just out of respect for the greater writers that I know, and whose work I respect so much, where it's kind of, I guess, one day I do hope to be among those ranks of, working published writers. But in order to keep striving to get there, I'm gonna have to not act like I'm already published by posting shitty work on a YouTube channel. And I know that sounds harsh, but I also do feel, like I said with the editing process, that it's just necessary. Like I said, these stories were just too close to the first draft. there was just not enough of a critical eye put to them from myself to myself. And hey, if that means it takes 5 more years to get published, whatever, man. It's a long life, you know. I had grandiose visions of where I'd be, and I'm such a serious writer at 18, 19. I think the humility that I've gained through the years will be beneficial eventually. It is beneficial now too. I gotta say eventually. But definitely understanding more and more the amount of work that it takes, trying to reinvest each and every day. So, on that note, I don't know how much more stories you're gonna see on this channel. I'm moving from the States, East Coast, down to the Caribbean. We'll be teaching down there for at least 11 months, along with my partner. So, me and Recording Rissa will have some kind of St. Martin adventures posted on each of our channels. I'm sure more than hers than mine. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what it turns into. Thank y'all for listening. Like and subscribe. I don't know really what for. I know that's not really much of a pitch. But yeah, appreciate you listening. Like and subscribe.